You're
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Minion Radio Show. It's D to the J with the roll away. I was waiting for the intro cue there. Sorry about the awkward silence for 38 seconds, but that's okay. 38 seconds of your life you can't get back, but that's all right. Stand up, jump for joy, or just roll around and play with a toy. That's where we go. All right, got a couple of things we're going to cover today. Got a couple of housekeeping things to go over here. The Tiger Martial Arts Summer Camp is June 17th through August 23rd, and that is from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Ages are 5 to 13 years of age. Prices include the camp, one karate class a day, and daily field trips. For more information, call the front desk at Tiger and speak about summer camp at 757-488-3882. Again, that's 757-488-3882, and see prices for details. After that, we've got July 14th coming up, the Kelly's Choice Caregivers Launch and the Network Mixer. Come out and bring your business cards if you want to network with us. If you know anybody that has a disability and wants to come in and network with a great group and find some very fun and interesting people, you'll find out a lot of interesting things. You can come and do that. Again, that is going to be at the 6212 Jefferson Avenue for the Kelly's Choice Cares Network Mixer launch, and that's from 4 to 7. Finally, we have our November 16th, the long-awaited Caregivers Gala. Again, that's the Kelly's Choice Cares Caregivers Gala. That is formal attire, so y'all make sure to get y'all tuxedos and suits looking all good and pressed and prim and proper. Get your hair cut and all that stuff, because you know I'm going to be looking good. We're going to be nominating all of the caregivers and for the people in the community that are doing such a wonderful job of helping people and helping people succeed. And we could not survive and exist without those kind of people. So again, that is going to be on November 16th, and that is at 6801 Bridgeway Drive. That is in Suffolk, Virginia, 23435. And again, it's 4 to 7, could be possibly 8, could run just a little bit long, but we want to give that extra time in there. We're going to have Miss Catherine come on at the end of the show and talk a little bit more about that and give some more details on the things that she's going to be sponsoring in and helping us with. And all right, so that basically takes care of the announcements for right now, and we're going to go into some sports. Hey, Elizabeth, thank you for joining us. Again, we are live on Facebook and letgoradio.net. That is www.letgoradio.net. Be sure to listen in, tune in, and check us out. You can also call in at any time at 757-774-7552. All right, so I've got a lot of topics to cover today. We're going to cover about 15 minutes or so of sports, and I've got a couple of emails to read. I've got some stories on handicapped parking. I've got a couple things there, and we've also got another one of these emails that came through on an award that was given to an autistic child, and I really, again, DJ about to drop kick somebody, and that's pretty hard from the that's pretty hard to do from the chair, but I'm going to just roll with it. See what I did there? All right, so our first story today, I read this morning, and I'm actually quite happy about it. The Broncos, to honor Broncos players, will be sporting a Mr. B decal during the season in remembrance of their owner, the late owner, Pat Bolin. The team president, Joe Ellis, announced Monday, according to Troy Rennick of the Denver Seven. Bolin died last week after battle with Alzheimer's disease, so we want to send prayers out to the Bolin family and all of the people dealing with that. And it's good to show remembrance. We've had a lot of the NFL wear the decals and stickers when a person passes away, so I think that's an honorable thing for the Denver organization to do in remembrance to their late owner. Wanted to talk just a little bit about Jay Gruden and the newest twist in the Redskins that's going on right now. Actually, Jay Gruden is calling Dwayne Haskins the wild card and giving him a full chance to win the starting position at QB. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this because we've talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Elizabeth says she's rocking like a hurricane, so we're glad to see that. I'm not going to rock too far; I might fall out of my chair there, so I got to hold on a little bit. But as far as this, from what I understand in reading the article, they're seeing a lot of positive things out of Dwayne Haskins. They're seeing the way he throws the ball, the way he's moving around. He's crisp on his passes, and Jay Gruden honestly said, quote, some of the throws I see this kid make, I'm like, Jesus, it's like nothing I've ever seen before, and he just really is going to be an important piece of the Redskins organization. Now, the problem that I have is bringing in a young kid like that, 22 years of age. He's only played 14 games in college, 14 games of football, and you look at this. I got to tell you, it's really surprising to me that they have not given him the job, but he's going to battle for it. You've got a veteran in Case Keenum that can run, that can run an offense and run it well. He's tall, he stands good in the pocket, he's smart. I really would let him sit for a year before bringing in Haskins because I want him to get that time under his belt and get a chance to really work with the guys before you just bring him in and put him under the spotlight. I don't think that's a smart idea. I can understand where Gruden is going. I mean, the Redskins want to win games now. I understand that, and it's funny because right now is this is a make or break year for Jay Gruden. If he doesn't, if the team doesn't do well, if they go 7-9, he's going to be gone, and I know that, and he knows that as well. I mean, he said that several times just going through press conferences in the preseason. I mean, in the training camp and mini camp interviews. So I mean, there was an issue too with Hard Knocks. They were talking about Hard Knocks. They can't be on the team they were on last year, so Cleveland is out. But Cleveland is the team to do it with this year because they've got all the pieces, and on paper, that team looks like to me that the team is honestly going to win the Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield and the receivers they've got. I mean, and Chubb and the defense they've got, and again, Scott McCloughan coming from the Washington Redskins with his ability as a general manager to go in and do the things that he's doing and the hiring and firing. Look at that organization and what that organization has become. So we're going to have to see if this really plays out, for Cleveland, and Hard Knocks could possibly be going to the Raiders, could possibly be going to the Redskins. Also, the Giants were in the mix. There's an issue with the Jets and Le'Veon Bell now. He's asking for a trade there. I've heard rumors on that and read a couple things. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, in the NFL. Moving over to the MLB for just a second, and this one just shows mental toughness for me. I've got to say, Max Scherzer is my favorite pitcher in the MLB right now. The Washington Nationals ace, Max Scherzer, is still planning to pitch Wednesday, and he is pitching. That game is live right now, and I'll go to the score in just a second. Wednesday against the Philadelphia Phillies, one day after breaking his nose during batting practice. And now I got to tell you, as tough as Max Scherzer is, he is a guy that he will give you all he's got all the time. He can get out of a jam, and just to go and get that score for you real quick, let me jump over here and grab that. So right now, let's see. Washington Nationals and the Phillies are – come on. Let me see if it'll actually refresh here for me. They're 1-1 in the bottom of the fourth. Sorry for the delay there. I had to refresh it so it would come back up. So right now, I mean, that's going to be a tight game. And the Nationals have been playing much better. They're 15 out of their last 22. I mean, so they've won some games. They had a rain delay yesterday and the day before, so that's why they're making up 2 games today. The first game's at 1 against Philadelphia, and then the second game is at 7. But again, talking about Max Scherzer and the ability to play through pain and through toughness, Max Scherzer has been tough, and his stuff is nasty. His slider and fastball, when he gets movement and location going to where he can put the ball anywhere he wants to. And I honestly, I love the way he pitches. I think the starting pitching for the Nationals is doing much better. Another one that I like for the Nationals, hey, Josh, thank you for joining the Sports Minion Radio Show. We appreciate you coming on. Tyler Rainey. Tyler Rainey was in the trade for Tanner Roark. Tanner Rainey was in the trade for Tanner Roark. So Roark left and Rainey came in. This kid is amazing. He has got a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and he throws that thing like hot butter. Not that hot butter goes on the baseball. Not that I've tried that, but I guess if I was hungry enough, I could go for it. But I think Tanner Rainey is going to be, in time, I think he's going to be one of the best closers in baseball, and he can run 2 to 3 innings, no problem. I mean, I saw him throw 99, and it didn't even look like he tried. And he threw a strike so hard that you heard the leather pop in the glove. It almost sounded like a gunshot going off. So really, Tanner Rainey is one of the up-and-coming gentlemen. Also, Rosenthal coming in. He's coming back now. He's back on the staff again. That you look at Patrick Corbin. He's got his stuff together. He pitches well. And the thing about it is, I was talking about Max Scherzer earlier. If he makes a bad pitch, if he does something that affects the team, it's next pitch mentality. Everything that he does runs right in a row. He doesn't worry about, what's happened. If it's already happened, he moves on to the next play. He gets a ground ball, double play, and gets out of the inning. I think the Nationals are playing great baseball right now. They've got good fundamentals. Again, 1-1 in the 4th inning for the Nationals and Phillies right now. That game is currently going on. You guys can check that out live on Masson or Masson 2 in some areas. So you guys want to check that out. Now, something really cool. I want to bounce back over to football just for a second. I read this and I literally about jumped out of my chair. I had to tighten my seatbelt a little bit. Brett Favre, I've been a Brett Favre guy since day one, and I'll tell you right now, I saw on his Instagram that he was coming out of retirement for the 2019-2020 season, and it says, for a few fleeting moments on Tuesday, Brett Favre was coming back to play in the NFL. At least that's what was posted on his Instagram account said. Given Favre's famous retirement waffling, this seemed to span about near a decade toward the end of his career. You didn't really know if he was joking, but alas, the Instagram was deleted, and he is not coming back to play professional football. And I think that's a good idea. I don't know if – I'm sure Brett can still sling it, but I'm not sure if he's the same gunslinger of old. So we got a little bit of Favre watch there to see if – he was going to come back. It looks like, he looked like he was. And then you saw that the Instagram post was deleted. All right, let's move over to the NBA real quick. And I wanted to go just a couple of stories here on the Celtics. Now, when I was reading this, reported Curry has essentially ghosted the Celtics. Let me give just a little bit of news on this. Following news, he would decline his player option for next season. Kyler Irving is apparently set to enter an unrestricted free agency while having almost no contract with the Boston Celtics. Sorry for the wordage there. Words are hard, as Chuck would say in his absence. By the way, Chuck is in Florida today. He's actually on vacation and having a good vacation, so we wish him well. He'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully he'll be back next week. Not 100% sure on that, but did want to give you just a little bit. Irving has essentially ghosted the Celtics, according to Boston Global's Adam Himsbach, who reported that people he had spoken to inside the organization had little, if any, communication with the star point guard in recent weeks. Meanwhile, reports have circulated that Irving will sign with the Brooklyn Nets, ending a 2-year tenure in Boston. The 27-year-old was also reported to be signing with Jay-Z's Rock Nation Sports Agency, which has multiple connections to the Nets. That's one on the Boston Celtics. Let me move over here to the second story on them. Al Horford is no longer discussing re-signing with the Boston Celtics on a 3-year deal and is expected to instead to pursue a 4-year contract elsewhere. Sources told the Boston Herald's Steve Blupit, and I hope I pronounced that right, sorry if I didn't. The two sides were initially interested in working on a new deal after Horford reportedly declined his $30.1 million player option for next season. However, he and the Celtics were too far apart on the expected yearly amount. Sources told ESPN's Adrian, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name because I'd fall out of my chair doing it. Boston is now inching closer to losing two of its most veteran players after the news that Kyler Irving is reportedly ghosting the organization. So basically, that when you lose key pieces like that, when you're in a situation where you're looking and saying, okay, what's going to happen here? You lose two key pieces. How do you rebuild and how do you replace that? Now, you can go through the draft and say, okay, we're going to do it this way, but you need those key pieces. And I mean, just like the Lakers reportedly trying to get Davis. I mean, when you get a piece that's that good, and then you have two pieces leave, the organization is going to suffer whether you say or not, because those two chess pieces, when they're your top two guys, and all of a sudden they're leaving, that is not what you want to see. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Celtics actually do. And as we go through and look at this and say, okay, are we talking about, how are they going to replace these two pieces? Let me just check in on the MLB score there and see if anything has happened with the new score. Give me just a second and we will update it. Okay, and it looks like, yep, it is now 2-1, top of the fifth, as the Washington Nationals have taken the lead in that first game against the Phillies. Again, that second game is going to be tonight at 7 o'clock. All right, so got a couple of really interesting stories I want to cover here. And again, I try to cover several different issues on my sports show, and I've been doing working with the disabled and getting a lot of the issues that are going on in the world around us with the disabled, because they need a voice too. And thank you to Kelly's Choice for giving them that voice and giving them the chance to be heard. Now, here's the issue. I want to talk about handicapped parking for a second, and I want to talk about this in a couple of areas. I've said this before, and I'm going to talk about this. There's not many perks that we have that the differently abled or the disabled have when it comes to having a disability. We struggle enough as it is. Number one, being heard, getting a chance to be heard, getting a chance to be seen, because so many people, hey, Mr. Shepard, appreciate you joining us live on the Sports Minion Radio Show. So many people see the disabled based on what they see, that they don't understand that just because they are disabled doesn't mean they don't have feelings, doesn't mean they don't care about what's going on in their world. And handicapped parking, to me, is something that if you have handicap plates and you have a disabled child or a person that's disabled riding with you, you have a right to that spot. One of the things, out of all the sports stories I just covered, one of the things that irritates me the most is for a person whose legs work or is able to walk and put one leg in front of the other and say, oh, I was just going to be there for a second. We as disabled individuals don't have that option to be there for a second. We need that spot for ramps, vans, trucks, whatever it may be. Hey, Curtis, thank you for joining the Sports Minion Radio Show. Appreciate you coming in. I will tell you, it surprises me how quickly someone with no plates and no tag will pull into a handicapped parking spot because it is convenient for them. Aside from the convenience of a person pulling into that spot, what you have done is you have yanked, and I'm going to say that again, you have literally yanked a handicapped parking spot from somebody that needs it. And I'm even talking at my dojo, at other places, that I go, the handicapped parking spots are taken up, and you see somebody that is getting out, walking, or using their legs perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden, they park in a handicapped parking spot. Now, I understand that all disabilities are not the same, and I'm not disputing that. I am talking about a handicapped parking spot to me, and this is my personal opinion, and I want to make sure that I bring that up, is a person that cannot use their legs, a person that is wheelchair bound or confined to a wheelchair or walker that needs to have parking up front. I'm not talking about an elderly person, because you can drop them off up front. I've seen that done, and let them walk up front and wait. I've seen that done as well. You do not need to park in a handicapped parking spot if you do not have a license plate or a tag hanging from your window. And I think that really, even people parking in front of ramps and ramps access, I see that everywhere, because people don't think about what the person that's in the chair trying to get up on the sidewalk and now can't get up on the sidewalk because the ramp access is broken. Words are hard, DJ, good for you. The ramp access is barricaded due to the car being there or the truck being there, and they say, oh, I didn't even realize I did it. It says no parking. You do not park in front of a ramp. That is illegal. That is a no parking zone. It is drop off only. And I see so many people that pull up in front of parking spots and blocking ramp access for a person to get up on the street who needs it. I think that the police needed to increase the fines on this issue. I think the fines need to be fought harder, because apparently from what I'm hearing, I've heard several people say, all I've got to do is walk in with my handicap sticker, prove that my handicap sticker is for my car, and I can get out of parking in the handicap spot. That is not right. If you park in the spot and you don't need it, it's your own fault. That is you, and you should have to pay the $250 to $500 fine. But I guarantee you one thing, folks, if they increase this fine from $500 to $700 or $700 to $1,000, people are going to, and they start enforcing these fines heavily, people are going to stop parking in handicapped parking spots eventually, because everybody ain't got $1,000 just to fork out and pay somebody, especially in P-Town. I don't know about y'all, but I've got my handicap plates on my van, and I do need it. Now, here's the thing. If a handicapped person is in a manual chair, and I want you guys to listen to this, because this is the way I look at it. If a person with a disability uses a manual chair, and I'm in a power chair, and a manual parking spot is open, as long as I can get my ramp down, I will park in a manual parking spot and let that person that needs that handicap parking spot park there, because it's harder for them to roll than it is for me, because all I'm doing is pushing my joystick forward to go anywhere. And that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. You have to look at what is really going on, and who are taking these spots and who are not, and who actually needs them and who doesn't. The other thing that I don't like, and I want to kind of go on this, if anybody wants to call in and talk about it, 757-774-7552, live on Let Go Radio and Facebook Live. Please comment and let me know what's going on. I see all these people are joining, but we're not getting a lot of comments in here. I want to make sure that people understand, when you get a parking placard, the parking placard that is for that person's vehicle only, the law states that it is for that car only. That does not mean that grandma can pick it up and take it with her, grandpa can pick it up and take it with him, cousin can pick it up and take it with her. That is for that individual's car. Now, if you have that individual with you, that is different, because that is who it is registered to. because the individual has the parking placard, and that is the case. There are, my roommate included, my roommate has his parking placard. My roommate is in a wheelchair. He has spina bifida. He needs the parking spot. He is confined to a wheelchair. He can use crutches, and he can, move around a little bit that way too. But something like that, to me, should be valued. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. Something like that should be valued. Something like that should be understood. And people need to stop looking at people with disabilities, and I'm talking worldly, everywhere we go, as objects. A lot of people with disabilities can run this country. And people forget that just because someone has a disability does not mean they're not smart and they can't understand what you're saying. You don't need to talk to them like they're 4 years old, because if you do that to me, I'm going to run you over. I'll let you know now, black belt or not, I don't care. I am not an individual that needs to be talked to like, I'm not going to do that. No, you're going to talk to me as an individual, and when a man or a woman is talking to me, they're going to look me in the eye, and they're going to approach me as an individual person, and they're going to treat me with respect, or I'm going to give them exactly what they gave me. I understand the golden rule, and I respect the golden rule all the heck. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But when somebody gets in your way and somebody talks you down because you're supposedly different, I can tell you right now, there's no such thing to me as normal. And people need to get away from saying that. Normal. My child wants to be normal. There's no such thing as normal. Everybody has weirdness in them. And if you don't believe that, you need to take a look at what a person actually is. If somebody ain't got no weirdness in them, something is wrong. And I'm letting y'all know straight. I've heard that too. We are not disabled. We are just differently able. People do things differently. People, have to get in cars differently, have to step up on steps differently. I tell you one thing, you talk to Kelly, and I guarantee you can say she's disabled if you want to. She'll take her footrest and hit you upside the head with it. And then Mama Bear will finish you off on the other side. I can tell you that. But I honestly know of a person right now, and it really makes me angry because I believe, and I want to say this delicately because it bothers me a little bit. There's a lot of overweight people in this country, okay? Obesity affects this country in numerous ways. Fast food is everywhere, and it really has kind of almost overtaken this country. But just because you are obese does not give you the right to park in a handicapped parking spot. If you have a medical issue, that has been prescribed by a doctor, and I'm saying this again is my opinion. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. All disabilities are different. Some disabilities we can't see. Diabetes we can't see. Cancer we can't see. Things that we can't see on the inside that are actually disabilities. If you have one and you need a handicapped parking spot, I get it. Take it, and you should have it. But really think about the person that cannot use their legs, and I think, or cannot walk on their own two legs. And I think if the so-called ambulatory people, let me explain that. Ambulatory meaning that a person can walk on their own 2 feet and bear weight on their legs, and I want and Curtis, that's a good point. Prescribed or diagnosed, there's a difference. Thank you for bringing that up, Curtis and Elizabeth. I love this right here. There's a difference between prescribed and diagnosed. If you have been diagnosed with a medical disability to where you cannot use your legs, you are confined to a chair, you have to have assistance getting around, you have one leg, one arm, you're a wounded warrior, something of that nature, then you need a handicapped parking spot. Here's the thing. Put yourself, when you are able to use your legs, and Miss Winnie, if you're on, I know you are because you're always with me, and I love you for that. Let me just ask you this because I want to get 2 cents from Mama Bear real quick. You have had, you've been dealing with Kelly all your life, and I know that you find it hard sometimes to find a handicapped parking spot. Do you run into the issue a lot of where people are taking the handicapped spots that don't need it? Are you seeing that a lot?
Yes, I am.
What do you do? Do you think? I guess my problem is, do you see the cops doing anything about it? I mean, are they just, I've seen cops in the parking lot not write somebody a ticket that's been right in front of the ramp, and I went and told them, that's a fire lane, and they're parked in a fire lane, and I can't get up the ramp. Then they'll go write them a ticket. What do you do in a situation like this?
I really haven't done anything, to be honest with you. It is pretty aggravating, disappointing. If someone does not have the tag for the hanger in their car.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a post one just recently. I think it was either Sunday or Monday, and it was someone showed a picture of a handicapped parking space. The emblem, right? The logo, and it says, "It's mighty funny how you want to be like me when it comes to parking," And I said, but any other time you don't.
Wow.
That was powerful. That was very powerful. A very powerful message, and I thought it was great. However, isn't that something though? When you think about it, like, oh, you want to be with me, be like me, because so you can park in this parking.
Sure.
And available.
Mm-hmm.
Any other time you wouldn't want to own up to it. I think people should listen and think about that. People should really think about that message.
Actually, let me ask you this too, Mr. Shepard, one of the instructors that works with me in Tiger Martial Arts, just asked a great question, and I want to present this to you too because I've said this and I agree with this 100%. So, do you think there should be different signs for disabilities that can be seen and those that cannot? Like maybe if people can use their legs but are still disabled, they should get a different parking spot. And I'll ask you this in just a second, Miss Winnie. I don't think it should be necessarily a different parking spot, Mr. Shepard, but honestly, I think maybe a different tag. And I know there are different tags. I believe there are red ones and blue ones for different types of disability. But if nothing else, they should it should be more easily understandable would be a question, because if you can use your legs and you're able to walk, that's different than not being able to walk and you need the parking spot to get closer to the store. Miss Winnie, what do you think about that? Should there be different parking spots, or are you aware of the different tags that I'm talking about?
I know what you're saying, because I've seen the red and different colors like that as well. However, I do not think that it should be different spots. That's not going to solve the problem of people parking in handicapped parking spaces.
Okay.
Solve it. However, I feel like it's first come, first serve when it's handicapped parking. The problem is getting those people out of the parking spaces that's not handicapped.
Right.
And for utilizing their family members' parking decal and and tags to park in those spaces
just to get the parking spot, right?
Yeah, just to get that parking spot, and there's someone right behind them that can utilize it, and here they are, they're taking it up, and they don't need it.
I went to the DMV and I spoke with one of the DMV administrators, and I said, the simplest way to solve this issue, number one, if you put a chip in that parking placard, or in that, because most of the people that are permanently disabled or confined to a chair have the option to get handicap plates, but a lot of them don't do it because they don't want to be seen as a disabled individual. They want the parking placard and they just want to, park in a handicap spot. I honestly think that the placard should be chipped, and I think it should be registered to the individual as it is, but also registered to the vehicle And when another person takes that chip and the car starts and it's hanging in that car, it should throw up a flag to let somebody know, hey, this is not right. Now, I realize that could also cause an issue, but honestly, the cops need to be more to solve the issue of non-ambulatory people parking in parking spots. The cops need to be more vigilant. I mean, I know a lot of things are going on in this world, and I know this world is crazy. I get it. But if the cops were more vigilant, I believe that they, and they increase the fine because right now it's $250 to $500. If they increase the fine to $700 to $1,000, you're not going to see a lot of people parking in parking spots. And if they enforce them, number one, when you do it, that's wrong. You don't park in a handicapped parking spot, regardless of what the issue is. If you don't have tags, don't do it.
Well, the problem with the decal, with the placard card is it's not going to be registered to a particular car. Like, for instance, we have Kelly's van, we have the car, and the truck, and Corey has his car. So if Kelly is in either one of those vehicles, we're going to take that placard with us to use it in that vehicle that Kelly is in.
Right.
So I don't think that it would be feasible to say, unless they're going to issue a placard for each car. However, as far as the disability and parking spaces, not all disabilities are visual.
Right. That's what I said earlier. Yeah.
Right. So, that's the thing that people got to be careful, about, you calling because you feel like this person is not disabled because they're walking fine, look fine, don't look like nothing wrong with them. Right. And it's not always like that because all disabilities don't have a look. Exactly. I agree. It's hard to say. However, it can be checked. If somebody, may be curious about it and it is registered to them, then, they walk. But the police can say, I'm sorry, this was brought to our attention and we just want to check. They might get mad, disappointed because they feel like, hey, I do have a disability, and just because I don't look like it, I don't mean you could come to me or this person.
Sure. And I understand that too. I mean, but it's what we're talking about here. And Elizabeth just said the same thing. And guys, for all these comments, thank you guys so much. Curtis, Jamil, thank you so much for commenting. This is awesome. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and staying with us. Looking at, let's see, obesity and diabetes are still disabilities. And you do run into discrimination there if you say something to them. And I can understand that. As far, and Mr. Shepard, again, I want to read his because he hit it again. People who are not disabled should not be parking in parking spots at all. I understand and completely agree with you. However, most people do not know the signs as to what they mean. I think different signs would provide more spots that more disabled people would be able to use. That's a good point. That's where, and that's an idea too that may have been looked at by, Congress or looking around to see if that can happen. But the only problem there, Mr. Shepard, and this is where it's hard to say, you kind of run into labeling there. And I really don't want to get into, labeling people because I want to, let's see. Oh, he said continued. Police officers need to have more training on topics and issues like these. I feel like many people don't know. So instead of falsely accusing someone, they just don't do anything. With more training, they could do a better job of enforcing. Wow. Man, Mr. Shepard, you hitting them out of the park. Curtis asked a good question here. Do the placards like IDs place the person's picture on the placard? Wow, that's a good point. Miss Winnie, what do you think here? I know these couple of comments, especially with Jamel and Curtis here. I think, like you said, maybe they should issue for each car. I mean, is maybe that would be an option.
Actually, Curtis, I think that's a good one. do the placards like, with the IDs, the pictures on it. That would be great. Honestly, if they did that, I think that would be a cutback.
A good step in the right direction of solving the problem. Yeah.
Even if it transferred from one car to another, if that individual is in that car, then yes, it's okay. But if they're not in that car and someone else is using it, then that's when a ticket should be, enforced.
Right.
That's a good idea.
But
very good idea. And for Jamil, I like everything he's saying. Again, all disabilities are not visual.
Right.
Now, if they made a difference in the different colors, it may make a good point, and it may not make a good point. I'm not quite sure on that. I'll look into that though, because I'm very curious about how it could make a difference, and maybe that could be a topic that DJ could bring up next week after doing some research.
Yeah, DJ gonna get on this one, boy. I'm telling you.
I think that would be a great idea to find out and see how they can implement that if it is one that can stand out. Maybe the blue cars, if it's someone that's in a wheelchair, only have those spots available for those in a wheelchair. Yes, I think that would be a great idea, and those should be the very first one.
Right. Well, the big thing here is that if you look at the spots now, you have a man. Jamal is just commenting up a storm here. I love this, man. This is awesome. Black belts are awesome. Go with it. Tiger martial arts right here, baby. We are live on Let Go Radio, and these comments are pouring in with the van accessible parking spots and the regular parking spots, which are both blue, but the van accessible parking spots are actually bigger because usually with the vans, they take up more space, and the side entry vans, the ramps come down from the side and not the rear. Now, they do have rear entry vans as well. So you have, and that's why they came up with the sideways parking now that you see for the sideways parking spot. Jamel just said they cannot place the picture because some privacy issues would be affected. Some people have disabilities that cannot be seen and don't want their disabilities to be known. That's a good point too. But the difference being, it's not about what their disabilities are. We're just talking about the person, being that the person is who they say they are, and the placard can't be used by someone else. That's a good difference there. Guys, I hate to do it. I've got about 18 minutes, and I want to make sure to get this other email out. I've got to move because I've got another issue. And Miss Winnie, I think you're going to like this one too. And hopefully I get her to smile on the other end. I can't see though because I'm over here and she's over there, but I'm sure she's smiling. Let me read this. This is from Kaylee, and she is from San Jose, California. And she said this. Let's see. Hello, Sports Minion. I have a question for you in regards to dating someone with a disability. I do not have a disability myself, but I know someone that likes me in the school that I go to that is in a wheelchair. I believe he has MS, but I am not sure. It could possibly be another disability. I need to find that out. I am scared to date him because I realize how hard it is going to be to date someone with a disability. I feel like I would have to take care of them, but I don't want to disrespect him. I don't want to discourage him or disrespect him by saying, no, I don't want to date you because you have a disability. What do I do? Please help. Kylie, San Jose, California. Oh, man, I'm going to need another hour. Miss Winnie, I'm going to need another hour. This is going to be a good one here. All right, let me start off, but let me get a couple of things here. And Elizabeth and Curtis, I will get back to your comments in just a moment. Hold off just a minute. Okay, so because the first thing that you want to do in a situation like this, again, this is my opinion, okay, is you want to be honest, okay? If you are worried about, having to so-called take care of a person with a disability, find out what they're able to do. Talk to them. Don't assume that you're going to have to take care of them, because a lot of people with disabilities can live on their own and do things for themselves. Do not get in that place of, oh my God, I'm going to have to do everything for them. I'm going to have to dress in, blah, blah, blah. This is going to be, don't do that, because if you get the impression in your head that this is not going to work because this person has a disability, you're going to miss out on love. You're going to miss out on someone that can love you with a love that you've never experienced before. I'm not sure how old you are, and I don't want to jump in with both feet, so to speak, but I'm going to tell you this. I've been married to my wife, Emily, it'll be 4 years this September, and I thank God every day for her. We both have disabilities, and I will tell you right now, where one person's weakness is, the other person's strength is, and you would be surprised to give it a shot. I mean, because once you find out what he's capable of and ask him what he needs help with, like for me, my biggest issue is shoes and socks. I can dress myself, I can feed myself, I can cook for myself, I do martial arts, but I have trouble putting on my socks and shoes. Emily is able to walk, but she walks on the back of her heels because she has spina bifida. So it is different. Dating a person with a disability is going to be different. I'm not going to lie to you, because there are things that you're going to have to get used to if you've never done it before. But if you treat that person like the person that they are, they're going to see you for who you are, and the disability is not going to matter. Okay, and I'm going to say this because this is who I believe in, and I'm not trying to preach religion to anybody, but if God intends the two of you to be together, you're going to be together. And I believe that if the two of you can communicate and find out what the person's about, and I would love to hear more from you. So Kylie, do me a favor, keep me updated. Let the Sports Minion know, what's going on, and I would say if you go in with your whole heart, and you truly believe that this is the person that you're supposed to be with, great. But don't disconnect it because you think it is going to be too hard to date someone with a disability, because you really don't want to become closed-minded. You want to talk to them and find out what they need and find out what type of person they are and see how their disability affects them, because disabilities affect people in different ways. Let me read some of the comments here, and I believe that some of these are still going back to the placard, guys, and I'm sorry. I believe the placard should be on the person's ID because grandma doesn't drive anymore. And all the kids and cousins are taking grandma to the store. That's a good point. Let's see, Curtis says, Jamal, I'm not suggesting going into detail explaining the disabilities. Give him a chance. Things are a challenge. They are usually difficult in the beginning. There's the point with the disability right there of dating someone with a disability. Good point there, Curtis. Jamal love always wins. Already in the right step, considering that person's feeling. Give the man a chance. The man or woman, your dreams is usually in the friend zone. Wow, man, this is great. I'm getting emotional over here. Holy smoke. Don't allow fear to delete your choices. Fear has two meanings. Face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. What a beautiful comment. Miss Winnie, I just for your input here, I've got about 10 minutes, and I want to bring Miss Catherine on as well. Can you just shed just a little bit of light on what you think about an ambulatory person, a person being able to walk, dating a person with a disability such as MS or spina bifida? Would you just touch on that just a minute? She might be away right now. She may be on the phone.
Say that again, DJ.
I'm sorry about that. I was just going to ask, we were talking about dating a person with a disability where Kylie is basically able to walk and she drives and does everything pretty much on her own, but she's considering dating a person with a disability. I believe it's either multiple sclerosis or spina bifida. Can you touch just on she believes that she's scared to date him because she thinks it's going to be hard to date him because of the things that she would have to do. And I told her, get to know the person first, and figure out what he needs help with before you judge the disability before you know it. Would you just touch on maybe dating a person with a disability, or what you think, how you would approach it?
Well, because I've met so many different people, including yourself, DJ,
Mm-hmm.
You're married.
Right.
You're married, and you and your wife both have a disability.
Yeah, and I touched on that. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I've met so many different people that date, others that have a disability or others that don't have a disability.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, the conversation is first, there should be a deep conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think each person should learn each other. I think each person should, make that determination of whether they feel like, yes, it can happen or maybe not, depending on the lengths of their disability, meaning how much can you do and not do.
Right, right. That's exactly what mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. You're capable of doing or not capable of doing. And if one person disability means that, one person needs total care and the other person don't, you have to make a judgment call or decision and say, this is what I want to do, or this is not what I want to do. So
exactly.
I think that it really takes a great conversation,
mm-hmm.
a lot of thinking, and, just to basically find out if this is what I really want in my life. I already have a disability. Is this something I want?
Mm-hmm.
So it's case per case situation. Each individual have to determine what they want and don't want.
I'm gonna comment on this for another 30 seconds because I want to give Miss Catherine time to come in here too to talk about some of the things that she's going to be talking about. But really quick, ultimately here, as Miss Winnie said, you have to make a decision, but you don't want to judge a person before you talk to them, before you get to know them, before you find out exactly what they need. And this is one of these conversations that's not going to be done in 20 minutes. That's why I believe you should become friends first. That's why I believe you should seek God and find out what he really wants you to do, to find out if this is right for you, because he will lead you in the right direction of where you're supposed to be. And I believe that if it's supposed to be, and this guy, this guy is your friend, and you didn't give me his name and email, so that's fine. But if you choose to email me again, please keep me updated, because, even though I'm married, Emily and I made a choice together to support each other. And support is going to get you through anything. If you have the right village, as Miss Winnie said, and the right people around you, anything is possible through Christ. Listen, we've got about 6 minutes left on the Sports Minion Radio Show, and I believe Miss Winnie, is Miss Catherine ready to come in, or is she able to come in to talk about?
Give me a few minutes. I'm trying to. I'm logging in on Skype on another computer to bring her in.
Okay, all right. So we're going to bring. Hopefully, we're going to bring Miss Catherine in, and we may actually go over just a little bit because we were about 53 minutes and 38 seconds into the show, and I want to take while Miss Winnie's getting Miss Catherine ready, I want to take a personal minute to thank all these fans that have stuck in through this broadcast and the people that are still joining in. I have got to say, the shows that are coming and posting to YouTube. Ronald, thank you for coming in. Virginia, thank you for coming in at the end of the show. One of the shows that has been posted, I believe it was episode 14, has over 900 views. And I want to just take a second to say thank you guys for going and looking at these shows and sharing them in your groups and sharing them with your friends, because what we're trying to do right now is give disabled people a chance and differently abled people a chance to be heard and to be known. And it's comments and shows like this that give those people that chance. And I want to thank you very much, very, very much, folks, for tuning in, commenting, emailing. Please keep them coming. You can email me at the Sports Minion Radio Show at yahoo.com. You can reach me on Facebook at the Sports Minion Radio Show like page /facebook.com. Any of you can come in and go back and listen to these. These have got some great topics, and I am going to research the placard issue and get some more info on that. hopefully next week, maybe the week after, because I don't want to cover 2 stories right in the row, but I am going to try to get that. And we're going to check in with Miss Winnie in just a second and see if she's got Catherine ready to come in. All right, so we're waiting to see. I apologize, guys.
No problem.
There we go.
I'm almost here.
No problem. No problem. Give Mama Bear a chance. She's working hard. She's pushing keys and typing and trying to get everybody in.
Yeah.
That's
trying to make it work.
That's all right. Got to work with what you got. That's okay.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You're live on the Sports Minion Radio Show. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. How are you? You're live on the Sports Minion Radio Show. How you doing? Hold on. We're trying to get her here. Hold on. I heard her for a second, but.
I hear her.
Yep. Hello. I can hear you there, but we're not. Can you hear me? Hello.
Catherine, can you hear us?
Yeah, we may not be able to.
I'm trying something different. That's why.
Okay. Can she?
We always try something new.
Can we get her on the 7552 number? Can we get her to call in?
I'll try that in a minute.
Okay.
If I can't pull her through Skype.
Guys, bear with us just a second. We're trying to get Miss Catherine in. Thank you for tuning in and staying with us. You're live on the Sports Minion Radio Show. We've there we go. Let's see if we've got her now. Hang on just a second. Hang with me, guys. Hang with me.
The number.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're going to try the call-in number now and see if we can patch her through. 774-7552.
I can't.
Don't you love technical difficulties on the Sports Minion Radio Show? Gotta go with it, baby. Gotta go with it.
Absolutely. Actually, it's not a technical difficulty. It's a technical new try.
All right, we'll go with it. We got to laugh out of it anyway. That's okay.
We're trying something different, having you on one computer on Skype and opening another computer and bringing Skype on that to see if we can merge them together.
Oh, I don't know that you to merge them. I think you have the paid.
We're sitting here doing this, so Mr. Tech himself know how.
Uh-oh, we got the backup singer involved now. Good day. All right, so we're trying to see if we can get everything connected here, guys. Just stay with us just a few more minutes. Like I said, we may go over the hour just a little bit, but we're hanging in there, and that's when you know people that things like that happen. So we're gonna just roll with it as I tend to do. All right, hang in there with us. Hang in there with us.
Yes, I'm on.
All right, here we go.
Am I live yet?
Yes, ma'am. You're live on the Sports Minion Radio Show. Welcome and thank you for calling in. How you doing, Miss Catherine?
Awesome. Well, first, thank you so much for letting me be on the show. I just want to plug in an awesome event that's coming on July the 14th. If you're listening now, spread the word. July 14th, KC Network Mixer Summer 2019, hosted by Kelly's Choice Incorporated in collaboration with Let Go Radio. We have a phenomenal visual artist. The name of the art gallery is Aha Purpose Art Gallery. He's going to be doing a live visual art piece that day, where you definitely want to join us at Evolve 1, and it's going to be at 6212 Jefferson Avenue, Newport News, Virginia. Live interviews on Lego Radio. It's supporting Kelly's Choice, which is a phenomenal 501c3 organization in the Virginia area, but touching lives all over. So if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, you definitely want to plug in. Also, we have another partnership with Candy Sweet Dreams. Oh my gosh, it's going to be phenomenal. She's going to have a lot of different treats, fruit trays, her own creations. She's a wonderful entrepreneur. She's partnering with us and contributing some fruit trays. So we're going to have a nice time of networking. And I tell you, for those that's listening, you want to check out the website, kellyschoiceinc.org. You want to plug in on all the social media platforms. Kelly's Choice Inc. Plug into what we're doing. Again, July 14th, what time? 4 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Spread the word to other entrepreneurs. Thank you for allowing me to plug in.
No problem. Thank you for coming in, Miss Catherine. We appreciate it. Guys, do exactly what she said. Go to kellyschoiceinc.com. Check it out. If you want to get in on all the platforms, again, that is going to be July 14th at 4 p.m. We gave you the address at the end of the beginning of the show, 6212 Jefferson Avenue. Come check us out. We're going to have food, fun. It's going to be a great time of networking and the launch of Kelly's Choice Cares. So listen, that is going to do it for this episode of the Sports Minion Radio Show. We want to thank everybody for tuning in and Miss Catherine for coming on and plugging this in. Again, we want to support Kelly's Choice, and remember to smile at someone every day because you never know who you might bless. This is D to the J with a roll away. We'll see you next Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is DJ saying, see you when I see you, guys. Take care.